Hello and welcome to SpaceEngine Exploration. So it has been 1 week since my last recording in this series, and it looks like we are over here at Pluto for some reason. Why would I be at Pluto? Because I drew Pluto, that's right. Yeah, I went ahead and just took a screenshot from the game and just kind of traced over it for my little catalog of drawings for future animated videos. And yeah, I'm just trying to get a large collection going. That way, whenever I think, oh yeah, maybe I should have this planet as an example in this video, when I'm like writing out the script for the video, it'd be convenient just to have a huge catalog of just very common things like black holes, planets, whatever, to kind of just have like a base version of, and then edit and make it appropriate for the video, you know? And yeah, stuff like that. Just kind of working on like a little, I guess, asset pack, that kind of stuff. I've been working on it like daily. I've been drawing like 2 or 3 things for my future animated videos. It's also the reason why you're not going to see any animated videos for a while. But I will try to keep up with Universe Sandbox 2 and SpaceEngine Exploration in the meantime. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We have a suggestion from Deleted Videos from YouTube. They suggest Kepler 22b, which we've been to many times in this series. It is a Oceania super Earth, and yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and skip that suggestion and go on to the next suggestion Deleted Videos from YouTube posted. We are doing 1 suggestion per person. If we can hopefully refix this little format here. There it is. And here we go. So this is Kepler 438b. I don't really know anything about this planet. He mentions that it is another planet that's close to Earth. Let's get an idea of our stellar bearings. Globular cluster over there. We have what looks like some kind of nebula right there. That's what that is. There's Pleiades, all distorted, so we're not next to the sun exactly. We're a little ways away. And we have Barnard's Loop, we have the Orion Nebula, the Flame Nebula. So we're still kind of in our neighborhood of the solar system. Well, we're close to the solar system anyways. We seem to be closer to the center of the galaxy, however. And this is a scorched desert. It is not a Oceania like a lot of the Kepler super Earth planets are expected to be. This is instead a desert, and it is 11% bigger than the Earth, according to this diameter graph right here. And let's see, it has a temperature of 1100 degrees Celsius. And the atmosphere is primarily carbon dioxide, water, and sulfur dioxide. Interesting. All the parameters for this planet are mostly randomly generated. We just kind of know it's there. We don't really know what's on the planet. That most larger than Earth planets are expected to be like super Earths because of the overall mass is expected to basically condense the water in the atmosphere of those planets. They're expected to be Oceanias essentially because of the odds of that, like, well, odds of a planet being that big. The odds are pretty high that there's going to be a lot of water and asteroids that contain water colliding. See, it's expected that large planets, such as super Earths, are expected to have oceans on them because the odds are that planet gaining that much size is that a lot of asteroids containing water collide into it. And then having that much mass in general to be that large typically means that there's going to be a lot of gravity, a lot of pull, which will pull the atmosphere closer and increase the atmospheric pressure. condensing the water into oceans. So the odds are it's gonna have liquid oceans, but I don't know if we could actually confirm or deny this. For example, this is just a very large desert that is in fact bigger than Earth, but that could just be because it's so incredibly close to a superactive red dwarf star. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. If I got my facts incorrect there, feel free to correct me down in the comments below. But I think that is why large planets tend to be ocean worlds. This next suggestion is from Angel Carrillo, and I was asked to visit Orcus Vanth, I think that's how that's pronounced. This is an asteroid that is orbiting around the sun. Apparently this asteroid is anywhere between 376 to 267 kilometers in diameter. Orcus is 760 to 809 kilometers in diameter. This is Vanth. I assume that is Orcus? That it is. So that is the larger of the two asteroids, correct? That's what it appears to be. I've heard of this little binary asteroid system before. In this game, the diameter of Orcus is 946 kilometers, as you can see up here in the top left corner. While Vanth, or Vanth, however it might be pronounced, is 280. So, not too far off from the mentioned diameters in the comment. It's hard to know their exact size and composition and color. In this case, they just seem to use the what is it called? Selena textures and color palettes. But they are incredibly far away. In fact, from the sun, they are at a distance of 39 astronomical units. So they're in the Kuiper belt, pretty much. They're about the distance of Pluto. Not, maybe a little bit further. Interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from Danubi Ball, and it is Kepler 47c. And let's go. This one's pretty far from the solar system, it looks like. Large gas giant with a diameter of 117,000 kilometers in diameter. No, wait, that is the distance that I am currently from it. My mistake. The diameter is 58,000 kilometers. I'm really hoping that music is not really louder than me. I'll go ahead and try to fix that. Okay, so let's see. Unofficially known as Gallifrey. And if you know anything about Doctor Who, yes I do, you may know that this is the home planet of the Doctor in the series. Why would this be known as Gallifrey? Because of 2 stars? Had to turn down how loudly I was hearing the music because that was incredibly loud in my ears. Anyways, as I was saying. Okay, so Doctor Who, you may know this is the home planet of the Doctor, the main series protagonist, by namesake. The main reason why it's been called Gallifrey is because Gallifrey's star system is described as having 2 planets orbiting 2 stars in the system. Okay. The only inaccuracies is, unlike the series, it's not a terrestrial planet, but an ice giant. And it's the same size as Neptune. And if you're wondering, the Doctor is an alien with 2 I know who the Doctor is. Okay, so the system is similar, but the planet, at least in this game, or might just be predicted to be in general because it's so incredibly large, is a gas giant about the same size as Neptune. Interesting. See, I only really watched the new series. I never watched the older series. I know, shame on me. I know some people will freak out about that. But, for the most part, I'm not really too aware of the system that Gallifrey is. I don't really go that deep into the series. I just kind of watched through once and didn't really put too much mind into all the fine details and stuff, because little details like this are not described, even though they will be like kind of shown in the episodes. These little things are described probably so few often that I wouldn't remember. The last time I've seen Doctor Who was a couple years ago at this point, so basically that. But pretty interesting. I guess this is Gallifrey. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Spudtato. Aware that Gallifrey, I don't know if my mic was picking that up, but yes, I'm fully aware that Gallifrey is a completely fictional planet, but it's kind of cool that there is a kind of matching system. Anyways, this next suggestion is from Spudtato. Disk. Yeah, that's an accretion disk. Okay, so this planet is a larger radius than its parenting dwarf star. I don't even. It is. It's almost the size of its accretion disk, too. But it has an accretion disk, which means this dwarf star is stealing matter from J1 1433b here. I wonder why this would be. Would this be a star that was demoted, eventually had most of its mass stolen away, and kind of torn down into what is a gas giant now? I'm not really too sure. It was discovered via transit, which is very interesting. That means this planet had to have crossed the light of this white dwarf star here. It is a white dwarf, not a neutron star, right? It certainly is. Give me one moment. Okay, that is very weird. I looked up some facts and I can only find an article from Daily Mail, of all places, I guess. Okay. Apparently this is a very cannibal star, and it consumes pretty much all the planets around it. So this is what would technically be, I guess, a brown dwarf. Or is predicted to be a brown dwarf. Actually being shredded away by this white dwarf here. Very interesting. That is a very odd little system, but that's pretty cool. It only takes 78 minutes to orbit around this white dwarf as well, so not very long at all. In fact, we could probably increase the time step and just witness that happen very quickly right now. Yep, that is a very quick little transit. The transit is shown right here. 1 hour and 17 minutes, so that would be pretty much right on track with the estimation given. That's a cool little system. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Sebi Trains. Go ahead and make sure we get this copied. Alright, so it is binary terras orbiting doomed red supergiant. Right there. Look at the two terras and the supergiant. Two. Okay. This is IC1101, the galaxy here, as the responses to the comments suggest. And there is the red supergiant. I don't know if you were even able to miss that, but as you can see, it's quite red and super giant. And here is the two terras. Let's go ahead and back out, and now you can see them both. So this one is a terra, right? It certainly is. None of these seem to be life-bearing from what I can tell. They are not. This one has either a very thin cloud layer or no cloud layer. Just a very thin one. While the other one seems to have a lot more. That's probably because this one is mostly desert, almost kind of Martian looking, with small little oceans on it. Let's go ahead and slow down time real quick. Alright, so let's go ahead and touch down and get an idea of what the supergiant looks like from the atmosphere. That is quite scary indeed. It looks like we might have a planet kind of sitting in front of the supergiant right here. Or just a smaller star, I guess. A blue main sequence star. Oh, so that would explain why it's glowing so heavily blue when we're out here. Assume these two are orbiting around each other. One is about to go supernova, I could only presume, and we just have this blue main sequence star just hanging out. I'll have to go check those out in closer detail in just a moment. Let's go ahead and check out the other one. Let's fix our field of view. Here's IC1101 in the background. I've shown this trick in a while, but I do have like a small short series on this. If you go to the magnitude and increase the stars, you can start to see a lot more detail in the IC1101 galaxy, because either the stars are so far apart, or rather, more likely, the magnitude for this galaxy is just turned down for performance reasons. Anyways, let's go and fly in. And it's because, well, this thing is so vast and huge. As you get closer to the center of the galaxy, the stars do get more and more dense, I guess you could say. The amount of stars, anyways. Let's go ahead and touch down and get an idea of what that supergiant looks like from this atmosphere. About the same, I would say. I don't know if there's really too much to explore on these planets, other than they are currently sitting at a distance of 150 astronomical units, keeping in mind that the distance from the Sun to Earth is 1 astronomical unit, and the distance between the Sun to Pluto is 38, I believe. So we are very, very far from the star, yet it's keeping it a nice toasty 53 degrees Celsius. Anyways, let's go ahead and fly into this system over here and get an idea of what these two stars are doing exactly. They are orbiting around each other. We just have a blue main sequence star and a red supergiant orbiting each other. This one has a mass of 7.6 suns. This one has a mass of 39.4 suns. Let's go ahead and just watch these two orbit. Very strange system indeed. Look at the way that red supergiant just kind of spins. Super weird. Anyways, let's go ahead and slow down time real quick, and let's move on to the next suggestion. Suggestion is from Squiffy Abyss 000, who I think had a non-working suggestion in the last video. Let's go ahead and clear out this question mark. And this time it looks like it works. No description though. Okay, so immediately I see we have a kind of coffee-colored gas giant orbiting what looks like either a yellow dwarf or a white main sequence star. White main sequence star it is. And we are in some galaxy far away from the Milky Way. And this gas giant has a lot of moons, and I mean a lot of moons. Let's go ahead and select the gas giant here. 99 moons. You can kind of see them all just as we rotate the camera here. Or if I go ahead and go back to magnitudes and decrease the star and increase the planet magnitude, you can get a much better view of all the little asteroid moons that orbit around this planet here. Also, for some reason, increasing the planet magnitude increases the diffraction spike of stars. I don't really know why that happens. But we could also just hit play here and watch them all orbit around this planet. Very cool looking. It looks like we do have some major moons, which are those super bright ones in the center there. Let's go ahead and correct our magnitude real quick. Make sure everything's default. Let's halt time. And let's go back to the planet. So that would be this planet right here, number 5. And it looks like all the kind of planetary moons that are orbiting around this thing are selenites for the most part, or super large asteroids, dwarf planets, captured in its orbit. And there is no visible rings on this planet at all. So these are likely formed from the condensing of the rings that were around this planet, condensing down into these small moons. Very cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which a lot of people have been asking. The CPU I got in the previous video where I upgraded my computer was the Ryzen 1700, and so far it is doing phenomenal and better than expected. Anyways, this next suggestion is from Deck Burrow. Let's get rid of that question mark, and here we go. Wow, across the universe, very quickly. So quickly we might crash the game. Nope, I think we are stable. Okay, so it looks like we have a hot desert here, a very detailed one in fact. Sitting on the top side or underneath the galaxy, whatever perspective you feel like taking on it. And I see just a super bright star, a white main sequence star. I don't think we're very far from it. Select our planet here again. We are at a distance of 1.37 astronomical units, so not too far. This would be significantly brighter than our sun because this is a white main sequence star. Step higher than our sun on the basically size scale of stars. And as you can see, that is a quite intense looking sunset, given this planet doesn't seem to have a super thick atmosphere. But look at that, that is a very cool view. Let's go ahead and zoom out. As you can see, as we get higher in the atmosphere, or possibly as we get to the daytime area of this atmosphere, it does get a little bit blue tinted, so very cool. It looks like we have a Selena, or large asteroid moon, sitting right over there. I'm gonna go ahead and just say large asteroid moon, dwarf planet, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like we have two smaller desert looking moons. Oh, these are just asteroids. Just blue and not really looking too similar to the desert itself. Interesting. What is this over here? Obviously it's an asteroid, but yeah, this one looks like it's a completely different composition than those two asteroids, for example. Very odd. That's a cool little view. Very neat. Anyways, I saw something was burning away around this star. That is what this giant comet tail plume is right here. Is this just an asteroid? No, it's in fact a whole planet. Scorched desert, which is tidally locked. Not faring too well, and on the backside you can kind of see the atmosphere glowing. I don't think it's a molten planet, but the atmosphere is certainly glowing. That's because of the intense heat on this planet. Imagine this is probably some kind of Venusian-like world. No, in fact, it only has an atmosphere of 3.82 atmospheres of pressure. Interesting. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Rainbow Kun. And here we go, a cold ice giant. The description says it's an ice giant with really amazing rings. Also, you won't believe how happy I get whenever you read my suggestions. I try to get around to every suggestion. Sometimes I do miss some, sometimes I don't. If I ever do miss a suggestion, feel free to post it on the next video. It's either because I probably just didn't see it, I probably overlooked it, or I don't know, maybe I couldn't see it. That seems to be an issue sometimes, is that some of the comments just literally will not display on my videos for me. I don't really know why. This is an interesting ring. You can see the dark side of the ring, which we're looking at right now. But it has a glowing edge around it. I'm not really used to seeing a glowing edge around the backside of rings, so that is pretty cool. You see it has a really cool purple, green, and blue look to it, almost like a spectrum, but not quite. Or could be, just a very faint one, but as you can see it laps over the spectrum a few times. Orbiting around a very Jupiter-looking gas giant here. Very neat. I do not have real planet brightness on. Let me go and toggle that on. And that just makes it look even more interesting. Now it's kind of like a dark, shaded look. Very cool. And as you can see, we're in an elliptical type galaxy. I think we're in the center of one. That might be the center right over there. In fact, that might even be the central black hole. Right there. Let's see if we can get it to pop in. Not quite. Was that the central black hole? No, it's just a blue star. Let's go ahead and back out a little bit. Now let's center our view with the galaxy. Okay. Decrease our field of view and zoom in, and we'll find what is the real black hole of this galaxy. I can't seem to select it, unfortunately, but that is the black hole. We can fly over to it right now. This is a randomly generated galaxy. It's actually a small elliptical galaxy. It's almost like a globular cluster. And here's the black hole we were trying to look at. Very cool looking. So let's go ahead and go back to that planet real quick. Which, now that we have the black hole loaded, we should be able to see it. Really a lot of detail in this suggestion here, so I'm kind of just fooling around. Ah, there it is. There's the black hole. You can see the cluster of stars orbiting around it. I think that is the black hole we're looking for. When I click on it, it selects the galaxy. That's how I know. As you can see, the stars are twinkling. The reason why they're doing that is because there is a distortion effect around that black hole, which is causing some issues with the post-processing effects of these stars, which is like a bloom effect. Makes it freak out a little bit, but yeah, very interesting. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. Where's the parent star for this? Oh, there it is. What's it orbiting around? A binary white main sequence star binary. Okay, so it looks like a yellow dwarf and a white main sequence star. Interesting. Look at how dense the stars are in this area. Because it's a globular cluster, they're just everywhere. This is formed by two galaxies colliding, essentially. Or more. Could be much more than just two. Anyways, let's see. Next suggestion is from Namikaze. Let's go ahead and paste this in. And here we go. It's a tidally locked tarot with life and an ESI of 92%. It's making that side glow. We got another star here. Look at that. Oh, that is awesome looking. That is like similar to what we saw in the previous video, but this one's like frozen. Look at this. You could actually see the frozen side of this planet because, well, it's orbiting. Well, it's got two stars shining on it. I don't know if it's orbiting two stars. No, it's orbiting this star, but it's a binary system. Look at that. You can see like the volcanoes, and they're just super bright and shiny. This side's like got a blue atmosphere. It just looks very Arctic looking. While the other side is just kind of hell, really. Is that our life texture? Is that like a cliff? That's a cliffside texture. Volcanoes are active. They do have a red glow to them. Let's go ahead and go to this other side. And here's a transition, which is cool because it looks like it generated like a turbulence or a cyclone there, which it totally would. Because it's just that transition between like the polar ice to what is essentially a scorched planet on the other side. Cool. And there is the mega cyclone, I guess you could say. That is caused by, well, the heating of that star right there. Just warming up this planet. It's shocking that it does have life, given this is a red dwarf star. Red dwarfs have a tendency to spew out tons and tons of nasty radiation and solar winds. But what does keep it safe, from what I can see, is the fact that it is marine life. All the life is underwater. So maybe that might protect it from the star. It would be very cool if this game had magnetospheres, like support for viewing them. Because, well, I can't really see that, unfortunately. You can really tell that it has a magnetosphere is typically it'll have an aurora. Which I can imagine the auroras on this planet, given it's next to a very, very hyperactive red dwarf here, would be quite intense. But a very cool planet nonetheless. Let's just watch this thing orbit because I think it's going to be kind of cool. Let's click on it here, and let's rotate with the object. So we can kind of watch as this happens. Pretty soon here, that white light should disappear if the star eclipses the planet. Which is a weird thing to say, which it certainly did. Let's go ahead and rewind time real quick and witness that. Seeing minor eclipses from the asteroids as well. There it is, it just kind of flashes to a yellow, and then it'll get its white tone back right away. That is very cool. Anyways, let's go ahead and correct our time and move on to the next suggestion. Okay, so this next one is from Captain Flip-Flop. It's a question. Why does your UI look different than mine? Because I went to Escape, I went to Settings, Player, and you can change the interface skin right here. Hope that answers the question. There is a lot to choose from. Anyways, the next suggestion is from Stephen Chase. And supposedly this is just a unique looking planet. There's no description on it. So let's go ahead and paste this in, and here we go. Okay, very unique looking galaxy too, at least a very unique angle and perspective of the galaxy. It looks like a desert, but it's actually a Terra, because it has oceans. I don't even think it really has oceans. Does that technically count as oceans? It's just water-filled craters. I guess we'll count it as an ocean. I don't think I would count that as an ocean, though. Maybe a sea? I don't really know. It does have water, though. Liquid water. Let's go ahead and turn up the ambient lighting. Okay, so we have a few more craters loaded with water. I don't see any real oceans on it, so it looks like a desert that just supports water and had some collisions. Maybe it filled up kind of like a well, or maybe the asteroids that collided into it contained a lot of ice. Who really knows, but I know this is probably going to be super deep. We're currently 2.9 kilometers down, so that's a pretty deep crater. It's a little over a mile, I think. I don't really know the translation between a kilometer and a mile at the top of my head. And 2.39 is to be the number for the, I guess, algorithm or specific, what would you say, seed, I guess? I don't really know. I assume a lot of these craters are going to be about the same depth, though, because the planets are generating based on a list of parameters, not really much else. That's why it's procedurally generated, not randomly generated. Anyways, let's go check out this planet, which looks like it's in Oceania. It certainly is. So this one is all water. There is no life on either of these. But I always like the way the Oceanias look, especially when they have like a moon or something shining on them, because the clouds still look almost white. You see the clouds in the night sky, but like that perspective is very cool. And look at that. It's like a cyclone that didn't like quite fully generate, but there is definitely like a lot of turbulence there. And right there you can see there is a bunch of successfully generated cyclones. But what is that? I guess that is just like some crazy wind stream or something like that. Very cool. And there's a parenting star with a planet that is burning away around it. Scorched desert. This is absolutely blinding. And also super laggy in this area, so I'm going to quickly pull away before my game crashes. It's also got like kind of a disk of asteroids and small desert planets and Selenas and stuff orbiting around it as well. So what is this galaxy? NGC 3499. Okay, so I think that is a pretty standard galaxy texture in the game. It's just the angle we're looking at it, we have some very, very dark interstellar dust, and we were just close to the dust as well. So we can make this nearly pitch black all around us by just hanging out in the dust here. And to completely defeat the glow of the galaxy. Look at that. Very neat. Alright, so this next suggestion is from River for You. And it just says you must explore the system. No further description other than that. It is a white main sequence star, sitting in the Milky Way galaxy. And what do we got here? We got a cold gas giant here with a crazy ring system, it looks like. Very, very large Saturn-like rings. I think I still have the ambient lighting turned on. There we go. And it's got kind of a brown and blue color. And is that an eclipse right there? No, that's just some turbulence in the atmosphere of this gas giant. Over here we have an Oceania with a ring. Oceanias with rings are pretty cool. I think on the first episode, or the second episode, I had a... Well, it wasn't a suggestion then, because I wasn't actually taking suggestions then. I was just visiting random things in SpaceEngine, because, well, I wanted to learn how to play the game, and I wanted to learn what was in SpaceEngine. And the series kind of evolved into this. I think one of the first things I visited was an Oceania with a ring, and it was in the Orion Nebula. Let's see if I can find that, but first off, this Oceania apparently has something orbiting around it that has life, and that would be this ice world over here with subglacial life, which we won't be able to actually see. We can touch down here and, well, kind of admire its... Yes, which would be under all this ice. Where'd the Oceania go? Oh, it's on the other side. How close are we to the Oceania? Oh, there it is. So that would be, imagine this was Earth and we just saw that orbiting in the sky. That would be a very weird experience. Or rather, we might even be orbiting around it. What's the size of this? Oh yeah, we'd be orbiting binary around that. That'd be super weird. This also has life. It has another ice world with subglacial life. That seems to be a common trend. That makes me curious. This is abiogenesis, which means the life originated there. Over here, this one is, let's see, abiogenesis as well. So 2 ice worlds in the system generated life by themselves, or kind of had life evolve on them naturally by themselves, independently. Guys, I think we're in the Milky Way galaxy. Let's see if we can navigate our way to the sun here, which is over here. Here we just need to find Barnard's loop. There it is. And if we zoom in, we can find the Orion Nebula. I forget how I found this one. I believe it was a bright star in the corner of the Orion Nebula. Let's see if I can find it without looking anything up. Is that it? That is not. It's back when I was basically fascinated, always trying to get every view I could to be within a nebula, because, well, it looks cool when you take screenshots from nebulas. Let's see. Maybe it was this star right here. Ah, there it is. A temperate Oceania. Yeah, this is one of the first planets I visited in the game. Too much to visit here. I don't even think it has any moons. Oh wait, it does. It has that Solana moon there, but that Solana moon orbits very, very close to it. What is this nebula? NGC 2023. Oh wait, I've been here before. What is that in the center? It's a blue main sequence star, just hanging out in the center of it. So I assume maybe this is the source of this nebula, perhaps? Can't be too sure, but it's in the exact center of it. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion. Is from Gray Pit. Alright, so it looks like we have a temperate terra with life. It looks like a desert almost. And it looks like we might have purple life here. Let's go ahead and touch down and see if there is like a mix of purple and green life. And we smacked right into the planet, and no, it looks like the life is green. That would be these patches in the center here. but it's kind of changed because of the atmosphere's color. It's like a thick blue atmosphere. Oh, that's a nice view of the rings. The reason why some plants, including plants in this game, would be purple is because they don't have chlorophyll in them, which gives things like grass and other plants its kind of green pigments. I believe chlorophyll is made to basically act like a natural pesticide against some organisms, or it's either used to basically protect the plants from the sun. I forget what chlorophyll is kind of made for in plants. It's been a while since I've actually seen a planet that has purple life on it, though. I don't know if we actually had one of those in the last episode. Normally they're in like every episode. Anyways, it is a green terra with a blue atmosphere. Too bad the atmospheric pressure is so low, which it is currently at 23% of that of Earth. Where we're currently sitting, it's 12% of that of Earth, because we're at a reasonably high altitude. As we get closer to the surface, so the pressure increases. Not very much, though. We're not quite at sea level. But we are right below the auroras. As you can see, there's things like tall mountains and a volcano peeking out of the atmosphere, pretty much. Interesting. Ah, here we go. Here's a better perspective of the life that we might see on this planet. That's a pretty cool view of this volcano and the rings and a giant selenium moon. I can't quite identify what that texture is. And I can't really identify what that texture is either. It's looking pretty low res for some reason. You see how it's all pixelated there? If I go over to like some areas where it's rendered a little bit better, you can kind of see it, but not rated quite as high res as I would expect it to be. I think that's like the dry forest texture, but it just looks kind of low detail. Possibly due to my video settings in the game, perhaps? I don't really know. But overall, a very cool looking planet. It says, check out the solar eclipse. You mean the one due August 21st? Because I do have a few videos on that. Or do you mean an eclipse based off of moon right here? Because I can go ahead and do that. Let's see if we can do that. Get this moon to eclipse the planet here. Let's get it lined up right in the center of it. There we go. It's about a perfect circle. Let's land right in the center of this eclipse. And look up. So it completely covers the sun here. Looks like we're in one of the elliptical type galaxies around... What is that Andromeda? No, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't make the kind of corona effect that it does with our sun, because this moon is significantly bigger in the sky than it is of that star. And is that Andromeda? What galaxy is that? Triangulum. That's right, we're in the Andromeda galaxy, aren't we? It's so weird saying Triangulum from Andromeda. Looks almost like Andromeda from our Milky Way, but Triangulum looks bigger from Andromeda than Andromeda looks from the Milky Way. That's weird. About the Milky Way real quick. Where is the Milky Way? I can just press, well, I just flew over to Andromeda, or Triangulum. There's Andromeda. Okay, now if I hit Shift H, we should be able to bring up the Milky Way, which is over there. Interesting. If we hit Shift H again, it'll bring us to our star, the sun. Flip around, and hopefully spot Andromeda. I might have crashed the game. I crashed the game. Okay, so we're back from our game crash, and this is a suggestion from Andromeda. Also, thank you for the congratulations on 7,000 subscribers, and thank you guys for getting me up to 7,000 subscribers. I did not mention that in my last video. That's because I didn't notice until after I recorded it, but thank you guys very much for that. Seems like every month it's like another 1,000 subscribers at this point. It's pretty crazy. It has slowed down a lot this month though, July, because, well, I don't know. I guess it's because I've been uploading less. It's because I've been so tied up with building my new system and all that I've not really had the time to record any long episodes or anything, or really that many videos at all. But lately I've been trying to get back on track at least. I did miss like a day or two a couple days ago. But I try to get a video up a day at least. It's like kind of my quota, I guess, but sometimes I just don't meet that quota, and it's really whatever. I try to get them up in a timely manner, but it's like I gotta record a Universe Sandbox 2 video seemingly every day, and then I also have to work on the animated videos at the same time, and then once a week I gotta record these hour-long SpaceEngine Exploration videos, so it's kind of a tied-up schedule. If I just did like a Universe Sandbox 2 video where I threw a soccer ball at everything or collided two planets together, simple suggestions like that every single day, then it would be no problem because I could just throw any planet at any planet and it would make a glowing effect and hooray. I don't feel that makes for really fun videos. To do that constantly anyways. I do like to fool around, like the soccer ball videos or the football videos, however you want to pronounce it, were fun to make because, well, it was just a random out of the blue suggestion and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds simple and fun. Let's see what happens. And then like the Jupiter one, for example, turned into a little bit more. I started time-lapsing it because, well, it did some very interesting things. But this is a very cool planet. Look at this kind of view of the mountains here. You got the aurora and the star just glowing in the background. Very neat. So it looks like we're in a kind of galactic cluster full of elliptical type galaxies. Oddly enough, I just had a major deja vu moment. Like, this was super familiar looking. This planet in particular. But I could be wrong. Andromeda has definitely suggested galaxies, like clusters like this, of many different elliptical type galaxies. And every time you just turn your camera, that just keeps spawning. They're all over the place. I don't know if this is the same galactic cluster he suggested before, or if it's a completely different one, but it's always very cool to visit because look at this. Look at how many galaxies there are in this area. You can kind of see it when I pan the camera left and right. There's just galaxies everywhere. Primary galaxies, dwarf galaxies, and most of them are elliptical, which means a lot of these galaxies have collided with each other. It's just a super cool find. I don't know if these are pretty common, like every time you go to like any joint in the kind of universe, I guess, because there's like little joints in the universe. I can show that by increasing the magnitude of these galaxies here. It's also how I make some of my videos. Now as you fly through the universe, you can see that there's like these pockets, like we're in one right now. There's like a wall of galaxies here, and then now we're in another pocket. And in another pocket, there's no galaxies really near us. We're kind of just in like a vacant void. But then there's like these joints where there's like huge clusters of galaxies like we're flying through right now. But the one Andromeda finds is just like so densely packed. It's crazy. But I don't know. It's a cool find. That's all I can really say. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion, which is from Derp Gaming. I keep butchering the facts of like everything he says. I told him to list out his bullet points if I keep messing it up, because yeah, I do kind of skim over the comments a little bit. I'd mainly just source out the IDs really and just paste them in, and then off I go. Okay, so what is that? That looks like the Milky Way, which means we're in a globular cluster galaxy thing. The galaxy magnitude still turned up? No, it's just super laggy in this area because there's so many stars. Description. It is a desert dwarf planet 3 times the size of Pluto with life. That would be this desert right here, this red one we're at. It is orbiting two brown dwarf stars. It's in a galaxy above the galactic plane of the Milky Way, and it has a pretty view. I think that brown dwarf sunsets are the prettiest views in Space Engine. Also, do you like Vsauce? Vsauce is an alright channel. I found myself watching Vsauce 3 more than the primary channel, mainly because his videos are really, really well done, and I just love the cinematography in those videos. Michael's channel is okay, it's just he hasn't really been uploading things that I find particularly interesting. Now he does like things like philosophy, math anomalies, stuff like that, rather than like kinda spacey videos, I guess you could say. Basically, he does a lot of like videos and stuff that is probably just way over my head or just way outside the construct of what I really care about, I guess I would say. While Vsauce 3 seems to upload a lot cooler videos, I guess, things that are more of my interest. Okay, so we have a kind of red atmosphere and a green aurora here. That's pretty cool. That's a crazy view of the aurora. You can actually see the entire ring of it. Not just a aurora in like one specific area like you would usually see. No, you see the entire ring of the aurora from the surface. Probably because the ice is at such a high altitude. Anyways, let's see if we can get a sunset of these brown dwarfs. Let's see. So that's a brown dwarf over there, I do believe. Wait, are these all brown dwarfs? Is the primary star a brown dwarf? Oh, it is, isn't it? Oh, okay. So this brown dwarf is relatively heated. I'd almost say it's basically a star, but maybe it has an ignited fusion, I guess. Kind of looks like it has. Yeah, this is the sunset you're talking about. It's like this crazy red glow here. That's pretty cool, especially with the wavy clouds in the sky. It's just kind of a shame that they're kind of polygonal and have like these jagged edges, but if I can render it in and then zoom out, no, they kind of just stay with a lack of detail. See if I could turn up the level of detail here to make those render out better. There we go. Oh, that's a pretty cool view. And you can see them just slowly pan across the sky. Let's speed up the time step a little bit. Very neat. Anyways, let's move on to the next edition from Oshi Jack. I think that might be up here. I want to say I'm looking for PIS, but I could be wrong. I can't seem to find it. I don't know which one of these it would be. Maybe this one? This looks like it might be it. I think this might be it. Let's try visiting this. There's no description on it though. It's a star, it looks like. Kind of oblong shaped star. Is there anything orbiting around this that's like noteworthy? Oh yeah, this is the correct star. There's just not much I really know about it. And the Zodiac constellation has a apparent magnitude of 4.49 on the spectrum. It is visible to the naked eye. And I don't know if there's any real facts about it, but this gas giant here has something with a life orbiting around it, so let's go ahead and check this out. This little moon here, which is a cold desert with life. Oh, and it has purple life. As I was mentioning earlier in the game, it's because it doesn't have chlorophyll in the plant matter. Very cool. Imagine Earth if it just had purple life. That'd be so cool. Like, we do have trees and stuff that don't really have chlorophyll in them. There's like a purple breed of like plum tree or whatever. And then I think cherry blossoms, whether those like pink trees or whatever, don't have chlorophyll in them. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it's always very cool to see like purple plants and stuff. And I think it'd be super cool if we lived on a planet that didn't really have, like, plant life with chlorophyll in it. That'd be so cool to witness. And I just don't really know what to visit here. He doesn't really leave me much detail. Here's a star over there, and if we go over to the sun, we might be able to... Whoops, I went to the Milky Way. There we go. If we go over to the sun real quick, and camera towards that star, you can see how far away it really is. Or at least how bright it is. And I zoomed in way too much. But yeah, very cool. I just don't know how I can kind of exaggerate constellations in this game, unfortunately. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next suggestion from AAV. I don't think you had a suggestion in the last video, did you? Not that I recall. Let's go to the Scorched Gas Giant. No description. Pretty cool. It's a binary gas giant system. That's not something I usually see in this game. They're pretty unusual. Also scorched, which tells me if I turn around, we're going to be rather close to a star. That or the atmospheric composition has made these really warm, or even more likely, these two are orbiting so close to each other. Oh, no. It's probably that star that's like right there. What's going on here? These gas giants are huge. They're like nearly the size of the star. Let's turn on the orbital maps. I was hoping it'd be like distorting the star's orbit in some kind of fashion, which it looks like it would, given the size of these things. Yeah, I think that'd be very cool if it was actually making the star wobble like intensely right there, or maybe perhaps even a binary orbit between these planets and the sun or something crazy like that, but I don't think the game supports that since these are technically planets of that star. But very cool nonetheless, and you can see the thermal emission effect on the backside of this planet is making it glow as well. Very neat. So this final suggestion is from GeoPlayer123. Go ahead and pay a visit to it. Let's make sure our orbital maps are turned off. And here we go. It is a berry center. It is a dual system, and the rest you will be surprised. Also, look at the sizes of both the planets. This is why it's unusual. And also, apparently I'm getting 8,000 subs in 3 weeks. He feels it. Not at the rate that I'm gaining subs, but I think that'd be very cool. I think anyone would, really, but, you know. I'm not too worried about it. It seems like my channel is growing at a very decent rate. Okay, there we go. I was wondering why it was moving. Okay, so this is a binary system between these two. We went to the berry center of these two planets. It's another binary gas giant system. Just as I was saying, it's unusual. Here we go. We have another one. This one's got like a blue and tan look to it, and this one's got like a coffee color to it. Okay, maybe a little bit more pale than that. There's the host star, which has some crazy comet tails going on. Why does that have a blue glow next to it? Oh, I see, because it probably has another comet tail behind it. Ah, yes, there's multiple comet tails. Okay. So look at the sizes of both the planets, and that's why it's unusual. The diameter is 150,000 kilometers, so what's that, 12 Jupiters or something? And this one's 139,000 kilometers. What would that make it? That'd make it eligible to be a brown dwarf, wouldn't it? I would think so. I'd say they're within reasonable size to be orbiting each other for sure, but Okay, so the moon is larger than the planet itself, which is the second planet in the binary system. But this is the one that's classified as the moon. The mass is greater on the planet. Okay, so that explains a lot. This is a more massive planet than this one. But beyond that, I don't really know any other details about it. They are tidally locked with each other, as would be expected. They're orbiting quite far away from that star, from what I could tell. Yeah, very far away. Sitting on its major axis of 4 astronomical units. So what's that, between Mars and Jupiter, roughly? Interesting. Looks like we're next to the Flame Nebula. No, North American Nebula, I mean. It looks kind of like the Flame Nebula, but no, that is the North American Nebula. I really cannot wait for 9.8.1 to see the new nebulas in the game. That is going to make for some really awesome videos in the future. But I think that is the end of this video. If you guys liked the video, please subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.